What's going on, YouTubers? It's the Natural Born Thriller, and welcome everyone to National Wrestling Alliance Review, the show from January 7th, 2020. And obviously, I'm going to give you the NWA Power results. So, this is a new year. This is basically NWA's new year. We'll start off a new episode of NWA Power moving forward of a new year of 2020 and a new decade of 2020s. So that being said, let's get right into the show here. Obviously, they were in Atlanta, Georgia, at the GPB Studios, and your commentators, as usual, are Joe Galley, and Stu Bennett, and you have your ring announcer and interviewer, David Marquez. So let's get to what happened on the show here, shall we? Just saying. Um, so the show opened up with this whole thing what pertains to recapping the whole thing about what's going on with the NWA Television Championship tournament that they're building up, and also this pertains to David Marquez. He brings out Tim Storm as he's getting ready to be interviewed what pertains to being in this tournament, and basically Tim Storm, who's over like hotcakes, what pertains to him being a baby face and doing well hell of a good job of being a baby face in professional wrestling. Basically, he's got the palm. He got these fans in the palm of his hands, and he's definitely got me in the palm of his hands. So he talks about about the company and basically the and the fans and all that, and they talk about Nick Aldis, where Nick Aldis along with where it to strictly business. They're not for the people and everything, and they're not doing this for the fans and everything. Also, we get Camille coming out. Crowd started booing Camille, and it was just only Camille. I thought it was going to lead to like a sneak attack to Tim Storm, just the way they were out there. It was being positioned, and the way that it was the angle was looking all too. So Camille comes out. She takes the mic from David Marquez, and someone said, "Wait a minute, is she going to talk this time?" And she doesn't. It was a tease. She puts a microphone, in front of her as Tim Storm talks on it. It was weird. It was awkward, but in a way it kind of worked. It wasn't making me go crazy, like, oh my god, this is just trash and blah blah blah. No, I actually thought that was very entertaining. Especially when it comes to Camille, who never speaks, even though we know how she speaks. But in the way Power, we for those who watch, for those casuals that watches in the way Power, I have no idea how she talks, but us hardcore fans behind in the way Power and everything, and I'm pretty sure the fans of in the way Power know that she could talk. They know how she talks too. But in this case, the casual doesn't know how she talks, but we, as our hardcore fans, have been watching the business for a long time. We know how she talks. So, but to get back to this whole point, so Camille has got the microphone. She got in front of her. Also, Tim Storm keeps talking about what pertains to Nick Aldis, basically running him down, and what pertains to not giving the main event what it deserves, what pertains to giving the fans what they deserve and everything, because Nick Aldis decided to duck out of the main event match against Tim Storm previous on NWA Power, what pertains to this whole NWA television championship tournament. And then Camille decides to slap Tim Storm. Tim Storm gets all angry. What can he do? He's a nice guy who doesn't lay his hands on a woman. And Camille got the it's got the palm, basically Camille got him in the palm of her hands. And I know it's going to lead to Tim Storm is finally going to snap and hit Camille. I doubt that's going to happen, but we gotta wait how this plays out though, and we gotta see how Camille reacts to it too. So But yeah, that was it. And then she walks away and starts smiling because she knows that she's got the power. She knows that she's got the confidence. She's in control, and Tim Storm knows it. And what could Tim Storm do at this point? So I thought it was clever the way they did this. And then we get to the next segment. We get Trevor Murdoch and the Dawsons, basically with Marquez and also with Anastasia, who chance to picking next opponents for this whole title tournament. And basically, it's gonna be the Dawsons facing each other, Zayn and or I forgot the other guy's name, Zayn and Sam. Oh no, I'm sorry, it's Dave. I see the note here now. Dave and Zane Dawson will be facing each other, but we'll get to that once I get more catching up of this NWA Powerrr, returns to this National Wrestling Alliance review. So, also returns to Trevor Murdoch's opponent. We already the names that are left there, and basically returns to Trevor Murdoch. What pertains to the television championship tournament, I meant to say. Um, it's going to be Thomas Latimer of Strictly Business versus Trevor Murdoch. And Trevor Murdoch says, he's going to kick his ass, basically to Thomas Latimer. And yeah, the the that was good. So as far as the matches, that will be until um the next two episodes of NWA Powerrr. So um as far as the Dawsons, that's on the next episode of NWA Powerrr, which I'll get to that one second once I'm done with this review. So we get to that's all for the television championship tournament that they're doing. But speaking of the television championship tournament, next we get to Zicky Dice versus Caleb Conley in this TV title tournament. Obviously the time limit 6:05. They got until we get onto the second winner pair to move on with the tournament. Match itself, it was pretty good. I enjoyed the match between Zicky Dice and Caleb Conley. And in the end, it was Zicky Dice getting the win over Caleb Conley to advance to the finals of the television tournament here, of the television championship tournament. Meant to say. Next, we get to David Marquez interviewing the NWA National Third Degree Champion in Shooter Stevens, and he's being covered by the question mark. So I'm sorry, it wasn't David Marquez. It was actually Joe Galley who's interviewing Stevens and question mark. And Stevens says, of course, trying to remember how it was said. So yeah, Galley asked Stevens if the question mark um is Stevens' teacher or and then he says of course and all that. He starts ranting about it. With just to the American culture to the question mark. And bottom line is this: that take a look back of his career. Never needed a title to be a star, and all that. In the standpoint, he's got a point there, which is to Damien Sandow, and to a degree, a Damien Mizdow. So I can see where he's coming from for that. Um, Basically, he put himself on that same level like Jake the Snake Roberts when Jake Roberts was in WWE, or at the time, during that golden age era of WWF, World Wrestling Federation. So, but anyways, uh, he talks about how he's a third degree national champion, and basically, so about the question mark, who taught him some karate, and then that's when the question mark gives him a correct pronunciation of saying he's like karate. Yeah, you can't say karate. You gotta say karate. Just saying. It's a difference, and you're probably wondering what the fuck is the difference. Just saying. Anyways, inside joke with this to the asylum folks, in case you didn't know about that whole joke. What the fuck is the difference? Just saying. But anyways, back to this. So yeah, that's what the promo was all about. Basically, nothing else to say about the promo. Basically, the promo is that also Shooter Stevens wants all the belts in NWA, not just the now that he's a national third degree champion, but also he wants also the TV title. He wants the world title, and we're just himself and question mark. They want the tag titles. Basically, yeah, they want all the belts. And if they can have a female inside perspective with along with them, they can also grab the and get the women's championship to as well. So and that was it. We got NWA Women's Champion Alison Kay joined with Stu Bennett and Joe Gallia on commentary as Thunder Rosa goes up against ODB. ODB has some good offense, and then Thunder Rosa starting getting her dominant offense into the match. ODB was trying to get some comeback and everything, but at the end of the day, it was Thunder Rosa gained up the better of ODB, and she ends up beating ODB. And then after the match, Thunder Rosa, basically, Thunder Rosa and Alison Kay were basically, talking trash to one another, from across each other, and that was it. That was two of it. So it's going to lead to something where just Thunder Rosa trying to get an opportunity of a title against Alison Kay's NWA Women's World Championship. So, and then we're to Melina. Well, I'll get to her on the next review of NWA Powerrr. For this this National Wrestling Alliance review. We see the Rock and Roll Express doing their own hotline commercial, and this time Robert Gibson starts talking now. Yeah, after all this time, Robert Gibson wasn't talking on NWA Powerrr. He's kind of like a Camille of this whole thing. Now he starts talking. So, yeah, basically they plugged the whole thing of the NWA. I mean, the Rock and Roll Express. I'm saying Ricky Morton, Robert Gibson. They start plugging the Rock and Roll Express hotline. So there you go. Nick Aldis comes out to the desk of the interview, to be interviewed by David Marquez. This time just David Marquez, and he wants for them to be quiet down because they're all these crowds. By the way, they were, oh my god, they'll get him some heel heat here. They kept saying he's a coward, and they kept booing him. I'm like, wow, now that's a good example of a heel. Obviously there's other heels that do very good jobs too, getting that type of heel heat too. But Nick Aldis deserves getting that heel heat now. But yeah, but he talks about. Oh, I'm sorry. Again, folks, I apologize for this again. It wasn't David Marquez this time. It was back to being Joe Galli once again interviewing him. I not think about it. I do remember this. Joe Galli basically has some questions for him. He has lists of questions, and and obviously Nick Aldis took guess one of them. Let me get it. Is one of Camille? It's like, yep. And okay, let's get to Camille. Yeah, so Camille's no longer the insurance policy because she is fully a member of the Strictly Business. And then pertains to whole thing with Tim Storm, and then basically when all this talking about Tim Storm, talking about Ricky Morton, and then we're pertains to having the wild cards being involved the conversation meant to say. That's what I was trying to say for a future title shot. And then it's just about pertains to the whole Ricky Starks where he wanted to because remember he talked about Ricky Starks before where it takes him being part of this tournament, and then he decided to leave the tournament because there was no more fun for him because Tim Storm ruined it. But anyways, I talked about that before. It kind of made no sense where he was saying it too and all that. But again, it's just him being a heel, and to a degree it is working. But anyways, but he talks about Ricky Starks. Ricky Starks, who's got potential, he's got a promising career and all that. And if he could last 6 minutes with him, basically that, basically 605, with him, 6 minutes and 5 seconds, Ricky Starks can be, could be somewhere somewhat in line of a title shot. I guess I'm assuming that's what he's trying to say. I don't know if that was the case or not, but yeah, that's basically what the gist was all about. Basically, he wants to test himself, Ricky Starks, to see if he can last 6 minutes and 5 seconds with the champion. So we get to the match, Nick Aldis versus Ricky Starks, and they have a good match. And Ricky Starks ends up lasting 6:05. So yeah, the time limit, the time limit expire. During that time, Nick Aldis had the clover leaf on to Ricky Starks. Ricky Starks did not tap out. He did not quit. He hung on to it until the time ran out, which I thought was pretty good. I thought it was well done the way it was done. So Nick Aldis is besides himself, because Brian Hitler, the referee of the match, so it's a time you didn't win. It's a draw. The time limit has expired. So then Ricky Morton comes out, Rock and Roll Express. He gets on the mic and says, how about you give this kid 5 more minutes? And then Nick Aldis said, no. And then Ricky Starks like, okay, fine. If you don't give him 5 minutes, then why don't you give me 5 minutes? Basically, Ricky Morton wants to fight the NWA World Champion, Nick Aldis. And then Nick Aldis gets on the microphone and says, so let me get it straight. You wanna get in the ring with the with the Real World Champion? And then he goes to say, no. And there he leaves. And the crowds are chanting, and during this time, the crowds are chanting to Nick Aldis, you're coward, coward, coward. And that was it. Good stuff. Good stuff. Okay, so there we go. So next we get to a tag team match, a three-way tag team match, or soon we thought it was going to be a three-way tag team match, because you had Eli Drake and James Storm versus Colt Boom Boom Cabana. Excuse me, I messed that up there. Colt Boom Boom Cabana. There we go. And Mr. Anderson, or Ken Anderson, whichever you want to say, versus the Wild Cards, which it will feature Thomas Latimer and Isaac Royce. But fortunately, the Wild Cards never showed up, because what we heard from Stu Bennett on commentary, that Nick Aldis pulled them out of the match. Don't know why, until we find out later on. I'm assuming we found out later on why it was that, and then why they was not part of the match. But as far as the match was between Eli Drake, James Storm versus Colt Cabana and Ken Anderson, match itself it was decent. I mean, I wasn't into it that much, but I thought it was it was all right for a main event. In the end, Ken Anderson, here's what happened. So Colt Cabana's going for his pin, the Superman pin onto Eli Drake, I believe. And James Storm was taken out by Mr. Anderson on the outside. And referee was a little late to go for it. I think it was. I'm assuming it was a referee bump. I could be wrong, but I could swear there was a referee bump in this match. But referee goes for the count, and obviously Eli Drake kicks out of the Superman pin. This pisses off Mr. Anderson, grabs the referee. The referee calls for the bell, and rewarding Eli Drake and James Storm to win via disqualification. And Colt Cabana was trying to calm down Mr. Anderson, and by the way, during the match too, Colt Cabana was trying to calm down Mr. Anderson. And here's another thing too, folks. Match stuff I thought it was decent. I enjoyed it for what it was. The problem is I couldn't get into the match that much, because I know this match was a good match, but the problem is I couldn't get into it that much because of what I heard about what Colt Cabana did at any show that involved Joey Ryan. I can't look at this. I can't look at, basically what I'm trying to say here is that I can't look at this. I can't look at Colt Cabana the same ever again. And some of you may not know what I'm talking about. I really don't want to talk about it. I'm pretty sure you know what I meant when I said Colt Cabana and Joey Ryan from wherever any show that that happened. I don't want to talk about it, and I don't need to talk about it. For those of you that don't know what I'm talking about, how about you look it up? Because I don't want to talk about it. So, but basically, that's why I couldn't get into the match that much. And I'm trying to get into this whole thing with Colt Cabana and Ken Anderson having a little argument back and forth and everything. that that's probably gonna lead to something where since Mr. Anderson, turning on Coco Banner, and Mr. Anderson is gonna be a full blown heel. But we'll see how that turns out, though. Um, but I want to get into this, but the problem is I'm half into it. I'm half into it, and I'm half not into it because again, I can never look at Coco Banner the same ever again. Now I didn't remember chance to Joy Ryan and Coco Banner doing that spot. I didn't see it, and I don't care to see it. But when I heard about it, all I could think about is vision of what Coco Banner did with that spot with Joy Ryan. So that's my take on that. So then also we get Nick Aldis, Camille, and the Wild Cards coming out. Basically strictly business, and they get interviewed by this time Mark. No, not Mark. I'm thinking about AW and AW. David Marquez, I meant to say. This time I'm for certain it was him because Joe Gowdy and Stu Bennett on commentary. So there you go. Best word takes on the main event match. So Nick always said the reason the wild cards were pulled out is is he's basically saying that this is the house that Nick Aldis built. Basically, he controls. He's in charge of what he's built and everything. He has some strings he could pull and everything of why he decided to pull the wild cards out of it and everything. Because strictly business wanted to focus on the Rock Roll Express, where it pertains to Ricky Morton, Robert Gibson, and all that. So basically, Nick Aldis calls them out, and then we got the Rock and Roll Express, Morton and Gibson coming out, and basically the challenge was laid out. Where it pertains to Nick Aldis, has a business offer for the Rock and Roll Express. It's going to be a 6-man tag team match. It's going to be Team Morton versus Team Aldis. Now, where it pertains to Team Aldis, Nick Aldis will not be wrestling for Team Aldis. And the same thing with Ricky Morton. Ricky Morton will not be wrestling for Team Morty. Morton, meant to say. Morton. Ricky Morton. I don't know why I keep saying Morty for. Excuse me. But basically, it's going to be a 6-man tag team match. It's going again, Team Aldis versus Team Morton. And where that match, basically here's the deal. If Ricky Morton's team win, he will be competing in a match against Nick Aldis. 16 minutes. That's gonna be a time limit. Or to face the Real World Champion. But if he doesn't, but Nick Aldis wins, if Nick Aldis teams win, Team Aldis, then Ricky Morton will not get an opportunity, and then Nick Aldis could move on from Ricky Morton. So, Nick Aldis, basically, obviously Ricky Morton accept the challenge. So Nick Aldis says, so the wild cards are going to be in the match, and the third man, and you're probably wondering yourself, who's the third man? Who's the third man? And basically like back in the days with at WCW back at WCW Bash at the Beach from 1996, where Bobby the Brain Heenan was like, he's the third man. He's the third man. When it's a Hulk Hogan, he's the third man, brother. Who's the third man, brother? Let me tell you something, brother. I'm gonna find out who's the third man, brother. So who's the third man, brother? Just saying. Yeah. So who's the third man, brother? No, and folks, it wasn't Hulk. It wasn't Hulk Hogan. Yeah, even though I'm referencing Hulk Hogan's catchphrases, well, let me tell you something, brother. It's not Hulk Hogan, brother. Brother. No, it wasn't. So it's the wild cards and the third man. Who's the third man, brother? It's Big Papa Pump, Scott Steiner, and his music hits. Basically, he's the only star that enter into NWA Powerrr for the first time ever with his own theme music being played, with the sirens and everything. And by the way, representation of the theme music of Scott Steiner is the same theme music from when he returned to WWE. I was wait a minute, that's like Scott Steiner's theme music from WWE from 2003. I was saying to myself, oh my god, it is. I'm like saying to myself, wow. And like, wait a minute, how does Scott Steiner manage to pull that off? Well, here's the thing. That better not also mean that WWE is gonna try to keep track of that and like, oh yeah, we're gonna sue NWA for that one now. I don't know if that's gonna be the case or not, but I don't know. Maybe Scott Steiner has some pull of it, maybe NWA have pull of it, wherever and everything to convince WWE, to give to use that theme music of Scott Steiner from WWE. But I thought it was pretty cool though. Just the fact that it was being played there. They didn't have, they could have just played other themes of Scott Steiner, which is to the Sirens. But other than that, it was pretty cool though. But the fact that Scott Steiner ends up being the third man for Team Aldous, it just changed the complexion of the match that's gonna be reviewed once I get to it after this. So the Rock'n'Roll Express starts leaving, and then Rock'n'Roll Express, as they're leaving, Scott Steiner is like, where you guys going? Where you punks going? Wherever they're at, right? Scott Steiner is already talking trash, as he's best known of, in the show of the year, and that was NWA Powerrr results, for this NWA, basically for this National Wrestling Alliance review. So my wrestling, I believe it was 4 matches. Yep, 4 matches. And my overall rating for the show, I'm gonna go with a 7.5 out of 10. Good show. And I'll be covering on the next show of NWA Powerrr for this National Wrestling Alliance review. So tune in for that one. But with that being said, thank you all for watching for It's the Natural Born Thriller, saying peace on the streets. So this was your National Wrestling Alliance review. This show from January 8th, 20. Wait, is it January? Was it January 8th, or was it January 7th? Trying to remember. Maybe double check though. Okay. Yeah, actually, yeah. The 7th, January 7th, 2020. Rotates to give you NWA Powerrr results. Until next time, folks, rotates to this National Wrestling Alliance review. You'll stay in peace, stay well, stay safe. I'm out, and take care.